Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of A Puppet the Master. Oh no, you know what? I gotta stop. I gotta stop right there, but we're not editing that out. Welcome everyone to episode 182 of Puppet Masters and Castle Freaks, the internet's leading all things Charles Band podcast. I am one of your hosts, Double P specialist Jared Hornbeck, and I am coming to you from the very warm planet of Brooklyn, New York. But no, I am not the only one who is fighting off this giant kaiju-style monster. No, who else is here with me?
Well, it's me, Steve Guntley, and my strongest weapons are merely atomic. This is the podcast about knockoff Skeletors, tea-drinking bikers, and Italian aliens. Italians, we might call them. That's because this is the podcast about Kraa, the sea monster, the second and final entry in Full Moon's short-lived foray into big rubber monsters. Now, if you thought I was putting a little bit too much stank on that title, I just need you to know there is an exclamation point after Kraa. So every time we refer to the title character, we have to say it like Kraa. So just warning everybody now, it has to happen legally. But we are
certainly not going to get old. Not at all.
Certainly not. Never. Yeah. And we are joined by a very special returning guest. Very excited to have him here. Who is joining us again?
It's Kraa.
It's here.
My wife is ready to divorce me because I've been doing that all week long at the highest octave that I could possibly manage. I haven't made it through puberty yet, so it's pretty high. Hey, everyone. Sean O'Connor here from Macabre Daily. I run the Paper Cuts column that reviews all the great horror literature out there and talks to some great authors and, doing all that good horror stuff with Matt Orozco and the gnarly crew over at Macabre Daily.
Hell yes. So good to have you. Always love having you around on the show and getting to pod with you. With the dearly departed Desert Island Dorks project has been put on hiatus, at least for
it's coming back
bit, though, but it is coming back. Yeah. We can tease that, I guess. Yeah. We can.
Oh man, have I been written out? This is new to me.
No, you're
on the thread.
You just haven't. I guess you haven't looked at the text.
Oh, no.
It's coming back, my friend.
It's got to happen. You
can't keep an annoying thing down forever.
You certainly cannot. But we're really excited to have you here. Now we have only 2 of these movies in the Monster Island sub-label. The very, very brief moment when Charles Band decided to give up on the tiny terrors and start experimenting with giant city-crushing monsters. There were only 2 of these episodes. Our first one was covered on Zarkor, was last week, which we discussed with Xander Cannon. And this week we are discussing Kraa. And I was just curious, Sean, why did you lobby so hard for Kraa? What is your connection to kaiju movies and Kraa in general?
Okay. When Jared sends out the list and I comb through what is left, which are dozens and dozens and dozens of movies, I don't have my Charles Band love is endless, but I'm going to be transparent. I really haven't dined out on a lot of those movies. So I just kind of go with what box cover speaks to me. And how can you pass up? I mean, come on.
Kraa and Zarkor both have fantastic cover art that really sells the movie accurately, I think. It gives you a really good sense of what this movie's vibe is going to be. And it's just honestly, I think it's a great looking monster design. Like, I think it looks awesome. Yeah. I think it's really well done.
The film for sure.
Yeah. Even better than Zarkor.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yes. No, 100%. It is better than Zarkor. And a couple things about this monster design. One, it's adorable. And I was getting real like My Neighbor Totoro vibes when they were having the close-ups of the face. Like I was like, looks like it's going to turn into a cat bus at any moment.
Yeah.
But also like more so than some of these other giant kaiju monsters, which are a little like pear-shaped. Kraa is shredded, man. He's got like an 8-pack.
Yeah, he's got kind of like this sort of exaggerated, what's the character from Masters of the Universe? Like there's kind of a fish man who's sort of like that, right? Or am I conflating that with another universe? But yeah, I'm remembering like an 80s cartoon, like henchman character who looked like a fish in a helmet and had like these ripped abs going on. And Zarkor definitely seems to be coming Kraa seems to be coming from that side of things.
Steve, I think you're right. I think the Fishman was from Masters of the Universe, but the best Masters of the Universe character is obviously Fisto.
Obviously, it's Fisto.
What was happening back then?
He fists.
He just
Merman. Merman is the character I'm thinking of, and if you look him up, he actually does look quite a bit like Kraa. So with just a little bit of Ninja Turtle in there. So yeah, go Merman. I haven't seen the new movie yet. I'm assuming Merman is third build.
Yeah, they're sitting on Merman for the sequel.
They're sitting on it. I know they're doing that with another major character, and unfortunately, it does not look like a sequel is going to happen. So I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've had a few things spoiled.
I've heard good things about it.
I've heard it's fun.
Generally speaking, I've heard it's good.
No, I'm definitely, it might be a wait for streaming movie for me, but yeah, I'll want to check it out. But yeah, no, Sean, you're not alone. Like we're entering into the point where we've pretty much put the Charles Band movies we've seen behind us at this point. I haven't looked ahead at the entire spreadsheet to see which ones I've seen before, but it's vanishingly few. We've seen pretty much all the ones that we've seen prior to recording an episode are well in the past. So it's all going to be kind of new stuff, and it's all going to be kind of discoveries. And I think Kraa, for me at least, is kind of a discovery because I had a hoot and a holler with this movie. I think it's so fun. It's so stupid. It's an absolute mess, but it's like a mess in the best possible ways. Let's learn a little bit about this movie and a little guy called Kraa, the sea monster. It was released July 7th, 1998. It's directed by Aaron Osborne, Michael Deak, and Dave Parker, and it's written by Neil Marshall Stevens as Benjamin Carr. And stars R.L. McMurray, Teal Marchand, Robert Garcia, Jerry Lentz, John Simonton, Allison Lohman, Colton Scott, John Paul Fidele, and J.W. Para as the voice of the not at all offensive Magyar. A bit of a recap for those who didn't listen to our Zarkor episode last week. It's been a week for the listeners. It's been about a month and a half since we recorded that episode, so I needed a little bit of a refresher. The Monster Island project started with Michael Deak, who is a special effects artist who's been with Full Moon since the glory days. A really accomplished guy, very tall man. So pretty much anytime they need like a hulking monster in a rubber suit, he's the one in the suit. And he loves kaiju movies. He made a short film called Marlin Man in his backyard to convince Charlie Band to take a chance on a kaiju movie proper. And the two films that they ended up making would be shot almost entirely back to back on the Monster Island label. And they brought in Roger Corman's kind of protege, Aaron Osborne, to direct the human actor sequences, while Deak himself directed the giant monster action on a soundstage. This time, however, these were shot pretty much back to back, but this time production was shut down after 6 days. And Aaron Osborne and Michael Deak thought the project was dead. So they're like, all right, well, we're moving on. Too bad that never got to be released, but oh well, let's move on to the next thing. So it was a surprise to them when 2 years later, the movie was released and it had an entirely different subplot that was never in the script. I'm speaking, of course, of the Planet Patrol sequences, which were not in the original script. Dave Parker, who we've had on the show, great guy, he stepped in to direct these sequences. And then an editor spliced them together, and the movie was released in 1998. And the original directors didn't know about it until they rented it themselves and realized, holy shit, this movie came out. Which you always love when that happens. Exactly. I think it reminds me.
This footage looks familiar.
Yeah. It's a similar story to what happened. I don't know if y'all have seen Deathbed: The Bed That Eats, but that was a similar story too, where he made that movie in the 70s, couldn't get distribution for it. It wound up like rotting in some warehouse, and he didn't know that it had been restored and released and become a cult favorite until he saw it at a Sam Goody when he was just like shopping for CDs one day, saw the DVD. He's like, holy shit, what is my movie doing here? So, it's always interesting when that happens. It sucks.
Somebody owes me
they're
some
probably
money.
not getting royalties. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there may not be buku royalties for Kraa or for the Deathbed, the Bed That Eats, but hey, they're owed.
I'm sorry, Steve. Royalties for what?
For Kraa.
For what? Thank you.
Excuse me. So sorry. I'm going to be blowing out the mic on all of this. Now, all that being said, it doesn't sound like there was any animosity on this set. It doesn't sound like anybody had a bad time or was fighting. It seems like it was purely a financial decision. And then Charlie Band behind the scenes kind of working his magic to salvage, footage that he already shot, which he has done many, many times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They both said they look back on these shoots fondly. They said it was a great crash course for working in low budget filmmaking, and most of the below the line crew has gone on to work on major Hollywood blockbusters, Harry Potter's and Fast and Furiouses and things like that. So everybody's still working and they're doing pretty well. That would include Alison Lohman, who making a small role here, her feature film debut, who's about to have a really great run in the early 2000s. I would say starting with Big Fish and Matchstick Men were kind of the 1-2 punch. She's phenomenal in Matchstick Men, and that's such an underappreciated movie. If people haven't seen Matchstick Men, go check that out. But her most relevant to us in our horror hound ways, she was the lead of Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell, which is just a delightfully gross time, and she's wonderful in it. And she's basically been like retired since 2009, like voluntarily walked away. She's married to Mark Neville-Dean, who co-directed the Crank movies. They have a couple of kids, and she just wanted to step back and focus on being a mom. So props to her. Anytime you want to come back, we love you, Alison Lohman. You're great. She's awesome in this, I think. For a very small role, but it's really clear.
Nice
like,
surprise.
oh yeah, this person pops. Yeah.
Very nice surprise. And she is really good in it. And look, I don't want to disparage the other actors, but she's so good in her small role that it kind of illustrates, there's Alison Lohman, and she's going to go on to do some really great things. And 10 years later, boom.
They're maybe unwittingly giving her an assist, I would say. Yeah, they're helping her out. Yeah, she's getting a little alley-oop on that one. But there's
a little bit of a non-performance almost from a couple of these Planet Patrol characters, which totally, it does not ruin the experience at all of watching the movie for me, because what it did was it gave me, like, it more so than a lot of other things, it reminded me of that kind of like 90s Power Rangers episodic television, a feel.
Yeah.
Like this really had the feel of one of those kinds of shows. And it just, because I'm always a little bit more charitable to movies that remind me of, watching TV as a teenager, watching some weird random thing on ABC Family before it was Freeform or something like that. I think we've encountered this a few times with maybe Sideshow and a couple other movies that struck me as like ABC Family original stuff that would air around Halloween time, because it's like this movie down to even having like the fade to blacks for commercial breaks.
Yeah. It's perfectly edited for that. And I'm glad that they introduced all this stuff, because I think if they're only going to do 2 movies to kind of fully simulate the kaiju experience, you sort of need this little subgenre. It's called the tokusatsu film or TV show, and it's stuff like Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, things like that, where it's the kaijus are there. There's 2 kind of stories ideas you can take for a kaiju movie. It's either a big monster comes to an American city or a Japanese city and crushes it, or it's battling with like an interstellar police force. This happens all the time. And so I'm glad that they introduced this element and give us kind of a fullness of the whole kaiju experience, while also making it feel like very silly and kind of Green Lantern core,
But if you two told me that Charles Band sold this to like Italian TV and it ran for 10, 15 years in Sicily, I would believe you 100%. I'd be like, oh yeah, because it's janky as hell. We love it for that, but it honestly is a pretty good Power Rangers knockoff. It really is.
I would say it's better than Power Rangers, which I think
a lot of ways,
even as a kid, I always thought it was pretty terrible.
Yeah. And I don't think this would have been Sicily, Sean. I think what would have happened is this movie would have found its way to Napoli, which is what it's looking for.
Boy, that was they made a choice there. Yeah. But I mean, I think you can kind of sense just from the production style of it that this is a very bifurcated movie in a lot of different ways. And Zarkor was too. Zarkor had the human characters kind of doing their thing, the disgruntled postal worker trying to convince people to help them stop Zarkor, and then lots of stuff of Zarkor smashing stuff. This is doing kind of the same thing, But instead, this time we have 3 different plot threads that do not seem to be in conversation with each other. First of all is the Planet Patrol covered. Then there's Kraa. He's attacking, and we get to see a lot of really well done footage. Again, tip of the hat to Michael Deak. This is really well done, like kaiju action. And then we have a third subplot with a heavily bearded biker and a truck stop waitress making friends with an inexplicably Italian mushroom-like alien voiced by J.W. Para. And they're trying to solve the conspiracy because it turns out the biker is also like a super genius who was a medical student and a scientist and a contractor, and he just wears those leather pants because he likes to.
Well, listen, he was smart enough to know that if you're going undercover, you got to shave that head and shave that beard.
Yeah,
I will say, I'm joking around, I'm being facetious, but honestly, unrecognizable. If you would have told me those two were the same person, it actually really did because he does kind of come out looking a bit like Michael Chiklis. And I wasn't expecting that at all.
I'm curious where this guy came from. His name's R.L. McMurray. This is his one and only film credit. Like not even a commercial or a background extra or a short film or anything else. This is all he ever did. And he's fun. It's a great find. You know, it's like, hey, dude, he's holding the screen and doing very good work against Teal Marchand, who we all know as Keenan's mom from Keenan and Kel. Which I can't say I pulled that off the top of my head. I don't have the freshest Keenan and Kel memories.
Funny?
But I
was a little bit too old for Keenan and Kel, but I definitely respected and appreciated what they were doing, and I always appreciated the fact that Keenan's dad was played by Ken Foray.
Yes, he sure was.
Yeah. I love the fact that that subplot of them trying to unravel the conspiracy is a completely separate movie. I don't know where the rest of that movie is that they cut it up and put it into, but I want to see the rest of it, and it makes me so happy that they are in a completely different film. I get so much enjoyment from that.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's it's really janky.
I think, but janky, sure. Like janky is a way to describe it, but I think that part of the charm of what makes it feel so much like an isolated episode of TV is that, like, you know, across a season of a television show, you have multiple plot threads and you follow multiple stories at the same time. So that's why, you know how sometimes like to cash in maybe on the popularity of something, you know, if you bought a certain item, they would include like a VHS tape with like 2 or 3 random episodes of a show on it to go. Like, I know like Burger King would do this with like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. Okay. That's like what this reminds me of. It's like you're getting an episode of a show completely out of context, because it's like you have these side characters in like the A plot, B plot, C plot that do not, I think, you know, David J, and it came from the video aisle, used the word like, what was the word schizophrenic to describe the movie. And I was like, that's kind of a funny, you know, maybe a little hyperbolic way to describe what's going on here, but it does feel very lived in. Like it feels like you're dropping in the middle of a season of something. So what's going on would make sense if you were watching it from the beginning. It's obviously not successful as a movie in that way, but funny enough, Sean, you were talking about how the Planet Patrol stuff felt like such a different movie, and you know there is a Planet Patrol movie also with the same cast and a few people from this that appear again. I don't think the kaiju element is there. Like it's not a Kraa movie; it's something else. But there's I saw it. It's so funny. I had a moment where that they introduced the Planet Patrol people, and they're being spoken of first, and then it cuts to them and they're kind of like this low rent Fantastic Four / Power Rangers group. And I was like, oh, the Planet Patrol. And then all of a sudden I had my like Kobayashi porcelain moment where I went, oh my goodness, Planet Patrol. I've seen that. It's not actually seen the movie, but it's in the spreadsheet. And I never made the connection that it would have been connected to Kraa the sea monster, because like Steve said, we're getting into the time now where we're unfamiliar with most of the properties we're covering, and so like
that's my biggest beef.
Yeah,
with the film
Yeah,
is that
totally.
it's not called Planet Patrol : Kraa.
Yeah. It should be. It's bizarre that, like, yeah, I've seen that title on the spreadsheet as well, and just kind of it glazed over me because I assumed it was like a Moonbeam movie or like something for kids, and I had no idea it had any connection to this movie, or that Alison Lohman was also in that film. Like, she continues on. All of these characters continue on into that film, and looking it up, it looks like it may mostly be comprised of footage that they didn't use for this film, or maybe also footage they did use for this film, as well as footage that they used in Subspecies.
That's
But yeah,
amazing. Wasn't going to make that connection, but I
the
think
subspecies are characters in the movie. Yes,
that's wonderful. I love that. And you know what? We're going to have to bump that up into the rotation soon. Like, while I'm still writing this Kraa, the sea monster, and Zarkor, the invader high of Monster Island, let's try and squeeze this one in sometime within the next couple of months.
Let's do it.
I could tell kind of by glancing quickly at the IMDb that I think you're right in that there's a bunch of new people credited, but also then just some of the Planet Patrol people. And in my head, I was like, I bet you this is like archival footage or footage that was already shot that they're using for this. But I'm definitely interested. It has such a silly, goofy charm. I think the camp value of this one was in such large quantity compared to like what I felt was lacking in Zarkor. Like, Zarkor had certain like 1950s B movie giant monster Cold War type feeling to it with the espionage element, but it was really lacking kind of in the humor. Whereas like with this one, I felt like with Zarkor, it was a more sincere attempt with a small budget to be a little more straight laced. Whereas I think maybe not all, maybe 90% of the comedy in this one is intentional. Like, I really do. Yeah. And I think like they knew exactly what they were doing. They were going to have fun with it. There's way more Michael Deke destroying again, we get for the third time now to talk about the miniature city set from Shrunken Heads and then from Zarkor the Invader, now used again in Kraa, the sea monster. Again, too much time on land, if you ask me. But again, there's so much more. I felt like they understood, maybe because there was no real organic way to connect it to the two other standalone stories. It was just like, all right, let's cut to Michael Deke knocking down some of this miniature set. And man, it's really fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. I completely know why it's a lot of time on land, because if they put that costume in water, it would have disintegrated immediately.
Absolutely. Yeah. They say in the book that he was experimenting with some what they call dry for wet, so kind of similar to like a day for night, but they were using handfuls of salt to simulate water spray and things like that, because I don't think you could really put much actual water on Kraa, the sea monster. So yeah, I mean, but it's a fantastic design, and we were kind of knocking the Zarkor design last week at least a little bit. Like, I think it's generally pretty solid, but he is just kind of a leaner Godzilla with some bigger spikes. Like, there's not a whole lot of invention there. This character looks really distinctive and cool and like a little cuddly. Yeah, he's a look at like I could see this being a Funko Pop like very easily. Like, it's there's a charm to that, and as well as just there's a lot of boilerplate stuff. Like, you've got like the Men in Black like running around trying to stop people from releasing the information about Kraa, and you have the Planet Patrol, which is like it literally gets sidelined. Like, at the beginning of the movie, they take a shot to their space station, and then they're just kind of like stuck not being able to help. And then we just cut back and forth to them every once in a while just to show that they are still alive. But a lot of the heavy work is being done by Magyar and our biker and waitress duo. Now, Magyar, I don't think we've really gone into this enough.
You can't do this justice. Like, this is something like, just seek this out, pause this recording, try your best to Google that. I was laughing every time this thing was on screen. It looked like I forget if it was in I don't think it was in Pee-wee's Playhouse. Maybe it was in like Hey Vern, It's Ernest, but there was like this little monster that was made up of dust bunnies. And that's like what this guy looked like to me. But the voice, J.W. Para, obviously, Michael Citroniti, the guy who was Myron Stackpole in Head of the Family and in Hideous and a handful of other Full Moon things. Really, most recently, you would have heard us talk about him a bit in, I believe, Galactic Gigolo and Cemetery High. I think he's in both of those. Yeah. But here I really wonder. I mean, it has to be scripted, right? Like he has to be working from the page. There's so many references to Italy and New Jersey, particularly like New Jersey Italians, for him to then. And then I like how they acknowledge how ridiculous the accent is. So then it's a plot point that he's now stuck with it.
Yeah.
Right. They try to explain it like, doesn't it, his communicator gets like scrambled in the crash or something like that. So he's like attuned to the wrong language. But they teach him English really quickly by giving him a handful of books, and he just like speed reads them and memorizes them. But he's still doing the rest of the movie in a heavily accented English that is 2 steps shy of like the cover of a pizza box. You know, it's so stereotypical and so broad and silly, and just but it's funny. It is
Steve,
funny.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the book that they give him to learn English is a book on how to speak Italian. And I'm like, but wait, he's already speaking Italian.
He's good on the Italian. Yeah, what are you doing? Like he's got it. He's got it down. I mean, I don't understand Italian, so maybe he's missing some conjugation in there, but I don't know.
I mean, it was I don't care how they landed on it. It was a choice, and 10 out of 10, no notes. It's perfect.
Totally. But like they run into some mobility problems with the Magyar design, because he's just like he's kind of like this squat little lump that doesn't really have legs that we can see.
He's almost like basket case.
He's kind of like basket case. He
is straight up Italian Belial.
Yes.
I was going to try to make like an Italian sounding name that was a pun of Belial, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to just ask Steve, you just mentioned he has no legs, and I want to know, if he has no legs, then how is he walking here?
Yeah, exactly. How is he going to walk in here? Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, New Yorkers love it when you say that to them. They love it. They love it. They think it's hilarious every time. Yeah, I've come to learn that as a non-New Yorker. They love it.
Yeah, it was something. It was something, all right. And I was cracking up the whole time, and I just was like, J.W. Para obviously making a choice, knew it was ridiculous. Neil Marshall Stevens knew it was ridiculous. The actors that are acting against this hilariously designed puppet knew that it was a joke. Like, we're in on the joke. Like, which I appreciate. Everyone got it. Like, everyone recognized that it was ridiculous, and everyone's kind of, I don't know, they play it straight in a sense, but with enough of a wink that you know that everyone is aware of just how silly this thing that they're doing is. And like that, those quirky touches were what kept me engaged. Like, I will say the Planet Patrol part is probably the least engaging of the 3 stories, because it's just sort of, except for, you know, some very charming, quaint effects when, you know, their ship is getting hit by a laser or something like that, or these kind of staticky TV screens behind them that look kind of hilarious. And I did like that there were some moments of choreographed fighting between them, and also talk about something hilariously designed. Like, you start this movie and I'm sitting down to Kraa, and I'm like, I don't know what movie I'm getting here yet. Like, I think based on Zarkor, I have an idea of what this is going to be like. But then Lord Doom is the first thing you see, and I was like, well, I'm on board. Like, this thing is so silly looking. Like, it hooked me immediately. And so, you know, we'll get an opportunity next week to talk a lot about a subject that we haven't had that much opportunity on the show yet to talk about, which is Star Trek.
Yes.
And so there was a lot of like original series type fighting happening in this too, which I could appreciate. And so there was even like that aspect too with Michael Guerin trying to fight with the Lord Doom costume on. And then the little Chamberlain, just the costuming and the makeup. Like I had a smile on my face from minute one of putting this thing on.
I love
completely.
I love that the name of the evil planet is Proyas, clearly a nod to Alex Proyas, who at this point would have only really directed The Crow. He hadn't even done Dark City when this was being made. So like it wasn't even a direct nod to Dark City. It just kind of like accidentally worked out that this came out after that movie. But it's, and I just love to your point, Jared, about it being intentionally funny. Like I love that they're following the logic through of like, okay, well, what do people want on the darkest planet in the galaxy, both physically and emotionally? The darkest planet, warmth. They want warmth.
Yeah.
So they identify like they give it's that sci-fi bullshit of like needing to commodify like basic human resources. So in this one, it's like, I take away 2 warmth points from you. It has punishment. Tonight you don't get to use the space heater. I mean, it's such a silly like bit of logic that they're seeing through, but like it's a goofy ass Skeletor looking guy on a throne made of fire, and that's exactly what you want for this kind of movie.
It is, and all of the different as disjointed and schizophrenic as the 3 separate stories might be, they all have something that is uniquely identifiable in terms of how either a creature is designed or how our people are outfitted. I know there are like a mercenary team who is like trying to get inside a building at one point, and they are all wardrobed by Curtis Sliwa, and like it's like that aspect is funny too, and like all of the stuff, everything has this distinct quirky weirdness to it. Like there's nothing that's nondescript. Like all of those guys come, it's like they're like G.I. Joes. They've got berets on and like their fatigues, and they're ready to come in. And then it's like, I think I know I mentioned the Fantastic Four before, but the Planet Patrol are all kind of wearing like, like Power Rangers too. But really what I was getting, especially since there were 4 of them, I was kind of getting some very Roger Corman Fantastic Four vibes.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that you guys didn't know what kind of film this was either, because I just assumed that you guys know everything on the spreadsheet. So when I started watching it, and Jared, to your point, I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's a knockoff Skeletor. Because I had no idea what this film was about, other than it was going to involve a kaiju. And then then all of a sudden I'm 10 minutes in, and Alison Lohman shows up, and I'm like, am I running a fever? What is happening here?
Yeah.
And then we get this kind of like knockoff Men in Black situation with the biker in leather. And at that point, I'm like, Kraa, I don't care where you're going. I'm in.
Yeah.
Dazzle me. And it's just such a charming little film. It really is. If I were 9 years old in 1998, this would honestly be my favorite movie.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, it's really hit that. I guess to that end, like, what is your experience with kaiju movies? We talked about it a little bit last week. I'm kind of like a neophyte. Like, I've always loved the vibe and the energy of a kaiju movie, but I hadn't actually seen that many like proper Godzilla movies or anything. I'm starting to correct that over time. But what's your kind of relationship to the genre?
Because I'm a stitch older than you guys. I grew up with the benefit of Creature Feature and Chiller Theater here in New York. And Saturday afternoon, you had tons of double features, either kaiju movies or martial art films. So honestly, it was there if you wanted it. You turn on the TV, 4:00 movie, and you could easily see Gamera. You could easily see Godzilla, versus Mechagodzilla. So, we really didn't have to seek it out. We just had to be there.
Yeah.
And that was really my education with kaiju films. Then they went away, guys. You know, I mean, that we're talking about 70s into 80s, early 80s. Then they disappear completely.
Really,
And
yeah.
it really wasn't until, geez, I mean, someone will come along and correct me, and rightfully so. But I feel like it really wasn't until Del Toro brought it back. You know,
I thought you were
Jackson
going to
brings
say
it
it
back.
wasn't until Kraa the sea monster.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, look, it breaks my heart that Kraa didn't catch on and really reignite the subgenre.
But
But
you
I
know
feel like
what?
it really
This
didn't come back
movie is
strong.
better. This is more enjoyable than Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, and it bursts through a billboard of Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, which probably hadn't had. I don't even think that had gotten to theaters yet. Like it probably hadn't by the time this came out. I mean, obviously there was a lot of fanfare surrounding that 98 Godzilla, but like for when this was made, I mean, Charles Band does this sometimes. Like if he knows that he's got something that's competing with a larger property, he'll take a little dig at it. Famously, you know, he had David Allen like blow up a Star Wars billboard in the movie Laser Blast, which was being shot around the time that Star Wars came out.
Yeah. I mean, that Godzilla movie, that American Godzilla movie caught so many strays too, because I think they did a proper Toho Godzilla movie like 2 years after that, where that version of Godzilla pops out of the ocean, is immediately killed in one hit, and is never seen again. So like they really hated it, and rightfully so. It's a dog shit movie, but like it's also the Godzilla movie.
Well, our sensibilities,
embarrassingly,
our sensibilities changed, I think, in the 80s also, because one of the few memories that I have of movies like that was maybe around the time that Godzilla 98 was coming out, was that these were kind of an antiquated thing, and they had tried it with Godzilla 1985, which was a big bomb.
Yeah.
And now, Sean, maybe you remember Godzilla 1985 more. I mean, I was too young. I don't really remember it. Yeah. But what was it about that one that didn't work?
You know, I think it was the expectation. You know, everybody thought that it was going to be that it was going to be a direct correlation with the King Kong, Jesus, with the Godzilla from the 50s.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know, but look, let's be fair. They were doing their own thing. They were doing their own take on it. It just didn't land. The crazy thing is, you know, a couple of years later, then they start to slowly churn out Godzilla features again. Then we get to Shin Godzilla. And I mean, then all the way up to, you know, Godzilla -1. And now it's just woven into the lexicon of horror cinema. I mean, it's kind of impenetrable now, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you're totally right, and you hit on something that we didn't talk about last week, which is that like if you are of a certain age, and I'm kind of like on the tail end of when this was true, but like if you stayed up late enough and were just watching like your basic 4 channels or whatever, eventually you were either going to see a kaiju movie or Lou Ferrigno's Hercules. You were going to see one of those movies after midnight. And that was kind of the joy of like having those like sleepovers with your friends or whatever, and like staying up and watching TV all night. You would see a glimmer of those.
Oh, man.
Now I think we just get infomercials or nothing, or Office reruns. I don't know what's on like basic TV anymore, but like, yeah, it was a magical little time. And we did comment kind of last week how it's amazing how the kaiju genre has kind of come full circle, where the American remake from 2014 was trying to be the serious, like heavy duty, like action movie, like the real majesty of Godzilla, and kind of take away like the goofiness of the rubber monster stuff. And as that American MonsterVerse stuff has gone on, it's become big apes like wrestling with big giant monsters. Like it's become very silly and very broad. Whereas the Toho Godzilla movies are Oscar-winning movies now. They are so fucking good, and they're like relevant, and they're smart, and they're emotionally impactful, and actually winning Oscars for best special effects. So like, it's funny that their streams kind of crossed, and that we still get both flavors of Godzilla, which like I celebrate both of them, and I think that's awesome that we get both.
I gotta circle back to the Roland Emmerich Godzilla, which I watch. I watch every couple of years. I guess I hate myself.
I do it too.
But he infuriates me because the like the cardinal rule of kaiju movies is you have to respect scale. So Godzilla in his version is, let's say 5-6 stories tall, because he's chasing Matthew Broderick and Hank Azaria in the cab down the street, and you can see that the feet are the size of the cab, and it's you have the ankle, and it's at least a story tall, and then he's supposed to be giving birth in Madison Square Garden, and he's supposed to be using like the subway system.
Like, sometimes he can hide in the Holland Tunnel, and sometimes he is bigger than like a 10-story building. And like, how is he evading helicopters? Like, he should not be able to hide in New York City. It's fucking Godzilla.
It makes me nuts because Roland Emmerich is turning me into that whinging ass who's got to be like, the scale of the monster is not correct, and I don't want to be that person, but he's making me be that person.
But the whole point is inspiring. Like, it's something I only just recently watched the 1954 Gojira for the very first time, and it blew me away. I thought it was such an incredible movie.
How about for a 1954 movie?
For a 1954, like, it's incredible. And a part of the reason that they get it so right is that it's not just about the scale, it's about the awe that the scale inspires, right? So like, it's not about like it's become a cliche of like seeing the crowds of people like running away and pointing, and just like the stock footage of Japanese people screaming in terror. But it was really effective in that first movie because you could feel their fear, and you could feel the sort of like uncomprehending sense that you would get if you saw something that big. Like, it's just outside of like what our minds can process. And that Godzilla, that the Emmerich Godzilla didn't do that. It made him too flexible and too fun. So like, we weren't getting a sense of awe. We weren't getting a sense of terror. We were getting a sense of kind of confusion.
There's something so magical and beautiful about the creature feature movies from the 50s, specifically Godzilla, but I'm thinking about them as well, where scale does play such a huge part in it. And you watch them now in 2026, and you can feel the abject terror that these people have towards something that they have, dominion over. And then all of a sudden the roles are reversed. I love that film.
That movie really
holds up really well.
It's a cut above. Like, you tell people it's like, oh, it's a giant ant movie, it's an atomic monster age, like kind of 50s thing, and you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be goofy schlock with like, you're seeing the strings and you're seeing all that. No, that movie's genuinely engrossing and scary and fun. Like, it's a cool movie.
The script is fantastic because what it does immediately, and guys, forgive me because I know this isn't a podcast about them, but what it does immediately is it sets up the stakes that something came along and tore people to pieces, So we're talking about a 1950s movie. So those stakes maybe weren't what was front of mind at that point. Like, okay, we're really getting, even though we don't see the graphic nature of it, your mind fills in the blank spots and you're like, oh, wow. All right. So these ants really will tear you to pieces. And at the end of the movie, I mean, who is it? Oh my God. I can't remember the actor's name. He's so famous. He was in Shawshank Redemption. Brooks was here. I can't.
Oh shit. Now
I know. All I can think of is James Arness, who's the other guy.
Yeah, it's the guy. Yeah, he played Harry Truman for a long time. Yeah.
And as a kid, I'm watching this movie on the Saturday morning creature feature, and the guy dies at the end. And I'm like, team time out. Wait, what? I didn't know that could happen. He's a good guy, and he's dead as disco at the end.
And to close
James
that
Whitmore
loop for people,
is who you're thinking of.
Yeah, thank you.
And they showed, I forget what the other movies in the program were, but them was one of them for some kind of Schlockerama or something at Mahoning Drive-In, and it was a great drive-in movie. And I think the other two were a little more like, ones that were maybe not as well made as them. Them really stood out as kind of the clear winner of the night, where it was like, oh no, this is like an excellent Cold War creature feature.
Yeah.
Michael Giacchino, the composer and the director by his own right, Michael Giacchino is trying to get a remake off the ground, and I'm down for it.
Dude, did you guys watch Werewolf by Night?
I loved it. I loved it.
I think it's the best thing Marvel's ever done.
Right?
And the fact that Giacchino is directing that, it's his first anything that he's directed, and that is more stylish and dark and exciting than anything Marvel has put out in years. Like, if people have not watched Werewolf by Night, it's on Disney Plus. It's an hour long. I want a Michael Giacchino movie a year.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more, Steve. It is beautifully shot. It's funny. It's also frightening.
Yeah.
It knows exactly what it is. It plays into it. And it kind of it reinvents, and that was one of my favorite comics growing up, but it really does reinvent that comic, and it reinvents that the look and feel of it. And I thought he nailed it.
The Marvel, like, I'm a Marvel nerd, like I'm / apologist, and like one of my that is one of my little favorite subsets. We can go into space, we can go into hell, we can go into things. The little horror verse that they had with Werewolf by Night and Man Thing and the dreaded Morbius, Ghost Rider, all of these goofy characters that
Brother Voodoo, right?
Let's
get them all together.
They played around with played around like EC Comics tropes, and that's what Werewolf by Night show feels like.
Right, that's how you're going to hook me. If you're Marvel, like those are the kinds of things that are going to hook me. Like, aesthetically, those choices and how those were shot and tonally, I was like, man, that, because I'm not as big a Marvel apologist, or I mean, some of it I like, some of it I don't, but like that right there, it's like, if you want to reel me in, that's the way that you do it. It's like you hearken to the tone and look of EC Comics, and I am on board.
And if you want to see Gael Garcia Bernal fight it out with Frasier's agent, you are not going to have a better opportunity. This is the way to see that happen.
Steve, I'm going to watch that damn thing tonight. That was so good.
Dude, I might as well.
Wait, she's still at it? I thought
Harriet Sampson Harris.
Very much so. She's on the agency right now. The Fassbender show. I hope you guys are watching. It's really good.
Oh, right. Damn you, Tobo.
Sammy,
oh my God!
It's time for my shot.
Oh, she was also really good in Licorice Pizza. Anyway, I'm following. I'm following a bunch of rabbit holes here. Yeah,
and I waited too long to come in with the rest of that to give you guys time to be like, no, Harriet Sampson is still like out there. I'm like, no, she's awesome. Like, she's great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fan. She's always really funny, and BB was a really funny character also on Frasier.
Just one of those, like, they used her just enough. But anyway, we should get back to Kraa.
Wait. Stick a pin in that for 1 second, because this is for Eric Hansen, because I'm going to go on a tangent. I have to follow up on your Licorice Pizza. Yeah. There was one actor in Licorice Pizza who stands head and shoulders above everybody else, and that is what's his nuts? Bradley Cooper.
Oh, playing John Peters.
John Peters.
Fucking
and that whole
awesome
scene of Streisand. She's saying it back and forth to each other. I could watch that forever.
And I loved reading up on that. I'm like, oh, this must be very exaggerated. And everything I've heard is like, no, if anything, he's underplaying.
They were conservative.
Yeah, that was a subtle, nuanced performance. That was Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies compared to how that guy really is.
Oh, what a great call out.
Oh God. Anyway, but yeah, Kraa. I think we've come full circle on Kraa. I wish they'd made a dozen more of these kaiju movies. These were all really fun. I think there were plans to do another one, which Michael Deak describes as a mix between Gorgo and The Wages of Fear. And I just really want to know what the fuck that's about. Yeah. Like, what could that possibly mean? But I want to see that.
That sounds fantastic.
But yeah, no, it was not to be. And the aforementioned Planet Patrol is going to be our last kind of little whiff of the giant monster experiment. But yeah, I think that they did the genre do justice. I think it's reverential and fun in the right measure. And I think the designs of the monsters are great.
And Sean, you weren't on either of our shows where we talked about Zarkor the Invader or talked about Shrunken Heads. Like, outside of the 1980s HBO special presentation ad, have you seen such cool, camera zooming over a miniature city? I think it looks so good. Like, it looks
right.
Like, it
And they're
doesn't
having
matter
fun
that it
doing
doesn't
it,
look
and you can
real.
tell.
Yeah.
It just looks cool. It doesn't have to look real. It just has to look cool. And I think of all those things, there are some very cool aerial camera shots across the top of the city in Shrunken Heads, more so than there is in Zarkor. But in this one, I felt like we got a lot of the miniature city destruction, which I was definitely happy to see. And so
I love it.
I know that you were enjoying yourself, Sean, watching those miniatures get crushed.
Oh, there's a part where like they paint a Han Solo action figure and he gets completely murked, but he's leaning on the side of a car, but he because he's an action figure, he can't bend.
Yeah. Oh.
And they don't pull away, and it's in the shot for like a good 2 minutes, and I just love that. I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so fun. Yeah.
A
No, it's
giant
great.
Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. No, it's a really good time. This movie's free on Prime. It's free on Tubi. It's very accessible. It's 69 minutes long.
Yeah.
With credits. You're not going to regret plopping down for an hour, folding some laundry, and enjoying Kraa.
Well, I have one grievance with this movie, which is that it does not have a kick-ass titular theme song.
That is a shame. That is a shame. We do get a little bit of like over the score. We hear like a crawl, like you hear that a little bit, but it's
Planet Patrol doesn't even have their theme. I don't think.
No, they should have like a jaunty, like superhero theme or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they'll get one in the actual Planet Patrol movie, but you have to tune in a couple of weeks. We'll bump it up the list. We'll talk about it.
I don't want that. I don't want a jaunty superhero theme. I want something akin to like X-Men 97. Like
yes, oh damn!
I just want like shredding electric guitars, like. Yeah.
And I do not love the Power Rangers, but you will never hear me complain about the Power Rangers theme song, which rocks and rolls all day long. So lean into that, really shred it. Yeah, absolutely. Sean, you're the best in the biz, man. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you guys. This is going out to both of you. Love you guys to pieces.
Genuinely one of the kindest human beings I've ever met.
Oh yeah.
So it's a delight to get to see you again. What are you working on right now? Where can we have people take in more of your stuff?
Hip deep in everything horror literature for Paper Cuts and Macabre Daily. Also, told Matt, hey man, I got to get back into movies. So I'm starting to review a couple more movies from Macabre Daily as well, because I miss it. I love it. So we're doing we're getting into that. As you guys know, we're getting into that festival season where it's just back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Fantastic Fest, Fantasia, Brooklyn. And I know I'm missing one or two other. Chattanooga is just ending right now. So it's busy times. And then I have Joe Velasquez and I do the Fear on Film podcast, so that keeps me busy once a month. Joe's dynamite and an absolute mensch. So yeah, I mean, I love talking movies and I love talking books. That's where I'm at.
Well, we love having you. I'm going to try and get back into writing some macabre stuff lately with my job and with my wedding and all the other stuff
busy,
that's been occupying my life. But you know what? I'm your man in Austin if you need somebody for Fantastic Fest. So
count on it.
Excited.
And Sean, it's a little weird to talk to you both in the present but also in the future, because when this episode drops, it'll be smack dab right in the middle of Fantasia. Are you going to be up there in Montreal? Am I going to see you up there?
Maybe. You're going for sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's I have to talk to my wife. And if I go, I'm gonna drive. It's 8 hours, But yeah, I'm contemplating.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to. And then don't forget, we have Brooklyn. And dude, I'm gonna be all over that, and you're gonna be right by my side.
Oh yeah. I always look forward to that festival. I think they've just done a really great job of having it be like, it doesn't have all the pomp and circumstance of a lot of these like destination festivals, but it's like they've last year, the programming the year before last, I did find to be a little bit weird. And even like a friend of the show who works for Brooklyn Horror, Amy Kuge, she said the same thing. She said, yeah, it was something about submissions or stuff that was eligible. They were playing a little fast and loose with horror in a lot of the titles. Last year's, I did not feel that way. I saw a bunch of really fun movies, and I thought the people
they
that
found their
come out
groove
to that,
last year for sure.
Last year's was so much fun. So I'll be working press for Brooklyn Horror. I will be probably screening at least 12 to 15 movies. I'll be at all the mixers, all the parties, all the events. So
love it.
Definitely, make yourself. It's great to get to hang out with Matt Orozco last year there.
Yeah. I don't know if Matt's gonna make it back. I'm hoping he is, but if he doesn't, he's like, look, dude, I'm gonna need you to do the hard yards on it, which I will gladly do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys so much. This is so much fun. I just love seeing your faces.
Oh, it's great to have you on, man. It's always a blast. And Jared, where can people find us if they want to see more stuff from
I thought
us?
you'd never ask, and that totally was
do.
organic and on purpose, and not me forgetting that this is when I plug the show. So if you want,
look, you've been on the beach all day.
Exactly.
I have. I've got I'm a little sun drunk still, I think, at this point. If you want to keep up with what we do on the daily, the best way to do that is Instagram. You can follow us at _Castle Freaks. You can follow me at _Jello_Jared, or Steve at Minotaur Matador. If you are a fan of the show and you're like, hey, I want to help those guys out, the best way to do that is to go onto Apple Podcasts. If that's where you listen, leave us a 5-star rating and a little brief review telling everyone in the world what it is that you like about the show. If you listen to us on a platform that doesn't have a review function, then a 5-star rating is just fine. But it really would help us out. Just, pump those rookie numbers up a bit and help us reach a wider audience. Aside from that, Blue Sky, Threads, our YouTube channel where you'll get audio versions of the show released. A lot of people are subscribed. A lot of people do listen to the show that way. So subscribe if you don't already. And if you do, continue to listen to the show that way. We appreciate each and every person who downloads all of these shows every single week. Steve, listen. You've got so much. You already talked about Macabre. Why don't you tell everyone about your other amazing podcast? Because why stop at one podcast to download? What else can people find every Friday?
What? Yeah. Why stop at one? Yeah, you can also check out Cinema Arcade. That's cinema and arcade mashed together. You find us every week talking about movies and the video game adaptations of those movies, which gives us a chance to talk about just a huge variety outside of horror. We get to talk about everything from Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo to Joe Pytka's Space Jam, which is what we're covering this week as of this recording. We're doing a little mini Looney Tunes series, so look out for Space Jam 2, and the delightful Looney Tunes Back in Action. If you haven't seen that movie, it is a hoot and a holler, especially if you love the works of Joe Dante.
I don't mean to jump in and kind of steamroll this plug that you're doing here, Steve, but have you guys seen the trailer yet for the Acme movie?
Yes.
Looks fun.
I'm excited, man. I'd be lying if I said I'm not excited.
I saw The Day the Earth Blew Up.
So I'm in.
Yeah, if you haven't seen The Day the Earth Blew Up, that Daffy Duck Porky Pig movie that came out last year, it's fantastic. It's so good. I saw it in theaters. So at least somebody's trying to salvage the Looney Tunes and restore them to their former glory. So if Warner Brothers is going to disrespect them, thank you, Ketchup Entertainment. Anyway, you can find that wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us next week, where, as we teased, we are going to be talking about the oeuvre of one Mr. William Shatner. That's right. He directed a full moon movie that almost nobody has heard of. It's from 2002. It's called Groom Lake. And it is a movie and a half. Let me tell you, we are going to be getting into it. One of the most tortured and most unusual and strangest film productions that we have covered on this show so far, and a real passion project for one of the strangest pop culture icons of our lifetime.
You say passion project, Steve. I say vanity project of an insane egomaniac.
He's very passionate about his vanity, so I think it works.
To this.
It's gonna be a good time. We got a great guest on there, and yeah.
And I don't
definitely
usually,
check that out
I
next
don't
week.
always divulge who guests are, but because sometimes scheduling could get messed up or something could happen and
this one's in the
prevent
can,
us from the
yeah.
releasing. But this one is already in the can. We have already recorded it because we did a few of these out of order. You want to know who our guest is, Sean? You're familiar with this person. It's Meg Ripley.
Oh my! Meg Ripley is
The greatest.
the nicest person, not on the planet, in the universe.
She's the greatest. Yeah, she's so cool, and we had a great time talking about just a deranged movie. Seek it out if you want to find a low quality version on YouTube. That's about the only place you can get it. But yeah, and just kind of brace yourself for some real head scratching decisions.
I can't wait to listen to this.
It's going to be a lot to get into. So thank you everybody again for listening. We will see you next week, and as always, Kraa!
Growl.
You're a little late on that craw there.